Hello YouTube, Grand Captain Speedy here. Last time on What If Cooler adopted Kakarot. Kakarot recruited Raditz and tricked Vegeta and Nappa into coming to Earth. How will Kakarot's actions affect future events? Find out now. Vegeta and Nappa set course for Earth based on the faulty info Raditz fed them. Little did they know that there was a third party listening in as well. One of Frieza's henchmen were eavesdropping on Vegeta's scouter transmissions and relayed the info Raditz gave Vegeta to Frieza. Frieza, while skeptical, decides that if Vegeta is convinced enough to go, then Frieza will ensure that he checks out the rumor first. Kakarot and Raditz both search the Earth for the remaining children of Piccolo to finish bringing peace to Earth in preparation for Kakarot's wedding with Bulma. After finishing their search, Salza informs them of the bad news that Frieza is heading to Earth, then questions what Kakarot and Raditz knows of wish-granting orbs. Bulma, Kakarot, and Raditz gather to tell Cooler what they know, with Raditz knowing almost nothing. Bulma explains that Earth had 7 wish-granting orbs that once collected allowed for a wish to be granted, but the Dragon Balls disappeared when Piccolo's rule began. Kakarot did have one important thing to add, with Piccolo appearing to be a Namekian and suggesting that maybe the rumors about the Namekians are true. Cooler decides to dismiss the rumor, but still worries about Frieza coming to Earth, with Kakarot suggesting that they get rid of Frieza. Despite Kakarot's confidence, Cooler worries about a fight with Frieza resulting in the destruction of the Earth. Bulma suggests she could make some sort of containment field for the fight, but they would need to draw Frieza to the area she develops it at. Kakarot begins training like there's no tomorrow, pushing his body and the gravity chamber to the limit. While recovering from a brutal training session, Raditz questions why Kakarot is so determined to fight Frieza, with him telling Raditz about what really happened to Planet Vegeta. Raditz is a little skeptical, though ultimately accepts it, and tries to catch up to Kakarot, but is constantly behind Kakarot. Time passes until Frieza's ship finally comes into range, with Bulma using a tractor beam to drag Frieza to the battlefield. Cooler, Kakarot, Raditz, Salza, Dory, and Nades are waiting as Frieza, Dodoria, Zarbon, and the rest of the Frieza Force grunts disembark from Frieza's ship. Frieza is annoyed at this apparent act of war, with Frieza transforming into his final form to be safe. Kakarot rushes at Frieza, with Frieza being caught off guard at Kakarot's power, but Frieza quickly powers up and begins pushing Kakarot back. Bulma begins cheering on Kakarot, which annoys Frieza, with him grabbing Kakarot before throwing a small death ball at Bulma, with Raditz trying to save Bulma, but them both disappearing in the explosion. Kakarot is in complete shock at the death of Bulma and Raditz. Frieza shortly taunts Kakarot, asking if he cared about those two, which is just enough to push Kakarot over the edge, with Kakarot transforming into a Super Saiyan. After transforming, Kakarot begins beating Frieza to a pulp, while Frieza is in complete shock at seeing the truth of the Super Saiyan legend, with him finishing Frieza off before Frieza came to terms with what was happening. Just as the fight concludes, Bulma and Raditz congratulate Kakarot, with Kakarot being confused how they are alive. Raditz says he tried to pull Bulma out of the way, but at the last second they found themselves safely away from the blast. Salza begins to ask Cooler a question, but Cooler states that the two are alive, and that's all that matters. Cooler approaches Zarbon and Dodoria, with Cooler offering them a position, or they could share in Frieza's fate, which Zarbon and Dodoria both pledge allegiance to Cooler. Raditz believes that the form Kakarot took could have been the legendary Super Saiyan, with Cooler agreeing that it is the most likely explanation, and saying that he wants to test the strength of the form when they get back to Capsule Corp. Kakarot transforms into a Super Saiyan and begins fighting with Cooler, with Kakarot having a clear edge over Cooler. Cooler is impressed by the strength Kakarot is showing and transforms into his 5th form, which gives him a clear edge over Kakarot. After a long battle, Kakarot reverts back to base with nothing left in the tank, and Cooler comments that this should make their future training sessions together much more mutually beneficial. Time passes and Cooler consolidates most of the Frieza force under his rule, with King Cold relenting and joining as well, though the Ginyu Force are a holdout. Raditz, in between training, starts having a relationship with Chi-Chi. Vegeta and Nappa arrive, with Bulma's tractor beam dragging them to the battlefield, where Kakarot and Raditz are waiting. Vegeta is a little annoyed at first, asking if the intel was completely false, with Raditz stepping up saying that he wants to fight the two of them himself. Both Nappa and Vegeta laugh at the idea before Nappa steps up to fight Raditz. Raditz effortlessly beats Nappa before turning his attention to Vegeta. Vegeta laughs that apparently Raditz is no longer wasted space, but he's foolish if he thinks he stands a chance against a super elite. Raditz and Vegeta begin their fight, and Vegeta gets annoyed that he's getting toyed with. After a bit, Vegeta gets so annoyed that he flies up before preparing to launch a Gallic gun at Raditz with the intention of destroying the Earth, but Kakarot steps in and stops the blast with just one hand. Vegeta is speechless. Kakarot then tells Vegeta that either he joins Cooler or dies. Vegeta begins yelling that he's the Prince of all Saiyans before rushing at Kakarot. Kakarot turns Super Saiyan and knocks out Vegeta. Nappa wakes up shortly before Vegeta is defeated and sees Kakarot and Super Saiyan beating Vegeta. After seeing Kakarot in that form, Nappa asks if Kakarot is the Super Saiyan, which Kakarot states that he believes so. Nappa is shocked and asks if Kakarot has thought about defeating Frieza, with him stating that he already killed Frieza. After a while of discussing things with Nappa, Vegeta begins waking up, with Vegeta then asking if Kakarot is the Super Saiyan. After going through the same discussion with Vegeta that they were going through with Nappa, Vegeta is in denial that Frieza has already been killed. Vegeta and Nappa both pledge their allegiance to Cooler, with them moving into Capsule Corp. This is where I'll end the part for now. How will Frieza's death and King Cold's acceptance affect future events? Find out next time on What If Cooler Adopted Kakarot? If you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit that like button, and if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel so you'll get notifications when I release my new videos. And if you're interested, check out my Discord as well. As always, have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night, wherever you are.